Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning, and good morning. Welcome to the Diamond Factor Experience Show with Barbara Beckley and guests and experts. Always got to add that because it takes a team to make a show. Takes a team to make a show. First, I want to, I'm vulnerable. I tell it like it is. I'm sitting here. It's like if I was in the studio, you would have been seeing me running all over the place looking like a wild woman. This morning, I get on, I have everything going and everything, the mic and everything, and then I look up and I can't get into the studio. Now, my guests and experts are in the studio, but I can't get in. I was like, how's this going to work? How is this going to work? So it's a thing called reboot. Okay, so I had to reboot everything, start it all up, and then I just flowed on in here, and I am here. And so happy because you know what? We can't not disappoint the listeners out there. And you guys have been so generous, so supportive, and sending me some nice messages. So thank you so much. And since we're just starting, I want to get right into it. We have a full pack show today. So we have first our wonderful queen of leadership and communication, Miss Laura Armstrong. We switched the time, so don't, I want you to make sure you get used to this now. Every Thursday, instead of her coming on from 8:30 to 9 Central Time and 9:30 to 10 Eastern Time. I do those 2 time zones, and then all the other ones you gotta kind of figure it out. She's gonna be coming on every Thursday now from that point in time. And then we have a wonderful. I'm so excited to have this particular. Now, I call the Queen Diamonds, but he is a King Diamond. Kelvin Gibbs, I'm going to be interviewing him right after Laura. And you'll be getting some information. I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to let him talk. Because me sitting here saying, nah, I can just tell him how wonderful and awesome he is, but he is going to tell you, and you're going to get some good information from him and get to know who he is. So with that said, let's, I think we need to, what do we need to do? I think we need to start the show.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? I have to say today it was a bit of a rough morning getting up. I don't know why. I was just sleeping so deeply. So you're getting me au naturel today. I hope you're all good with that because I'm good with it. Today we're going to be talking about where do you want your income to be? And I think that this is a subject that's really tied to leadership because when you're stepping out in your leadership, there are so many aspects about that. And you need to think about what your plan, what your strategy is, where you're going. And when I'm working with people who are stepping into higher leadership, they're scaling their business, we need to be really clear about the income part because it plays a bigger part than it used to. Before you were just creating and building and getting clear. And now that you're clear, you're actually moving into the next stage of being more influential and impactful. Okay. And so where do you want your income to be? You know, like you could put any number out there. I want to make $1 million in a year. That's totally doable. You just need a plan around it. Right. So, what I want you to be thinking of and how I'm going to divide this up today a little bit is, first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about what does income mean to you, first of all. Okay. And where you want to be, like what your mindset is around that. And think about some things that might be getting in the way of your money mindset. Okay. And we'll get rid of that, or I'll give you the tools for that so you can decide if you want to keep it. The other thing is I can give you some ideas about how to quickly make money and create your income, but also know what your net income ratio is, because a lot of people, they just go out and do stuff and they don't break it down or have a plan about it. I am the last person to have a plan, but if you really want to scale your business and become the leader you're meant to be, you need a plan. And that's not my expertise. So I bring in experts and I get them to help me to do that because I operate in my genius, which is leadership and communication. But I do need this as an essential part of, my business, who I am, and how I live my life. So first, let's talk about income and money, because I think that a lot of the time, there's a lot of shame and negative connotations attached to money and making money. I love making money. When I was packaged out from my corporate job, I was a commodities trader of 21 years. They literally did it in a bad way, which was really unethical. I took them to court for a lot of money. And I decided, this was 13 years ago, that I was retired at the age of 42. I'm 54, 55 now. I was only going to do things that I love to do that help people and make me more money than I can spend, right? And that is the way I live my life, right? But I think a lot of the time we have these mindsets about money, and that's attached to so many things. So what you really need to get clear on for your leadership is you're going to be making more money as long as you're moving your leadership up and your impact out. Okay. So be willing to have that, right? And that's just a bit of a mindset thing there. My money mindset, for example, was I embraced my mother's, because your parents give you your upbringing. That's what you're taking in here. And my mom, even though we grew up into a middle upper class family, her mindset was always a poverty mindset. Money doesn't grow on trees. We don't have enough. We're just going to make it. We're not going on vacation. We can't afford this, like that kind of thinking, right? And in my late teens, early 20s, I decided that this wasn't the way that felt good for me. My money did grow on trees, right? I went on vacations. I invested my money. My money flows are good, right? So I always had money coming in, right? I just needed to increase the scope of that. And I had to get really clear about, where I wanted my income to be. Like in my 20s, you're a mess. You don't know what you want. If you do, like, you're a god, right? So I know for me, I was just kind of all over the place. But as I got older, I'm like, I need to decide what I want to do. And I'm not such a structure person. But if you're stepping into your leadership and your business at a certain, in a certain way, then you have to decide how much income you want to make, right? So how you want to make disposable income, how you want to make passive income, how you want to make evergreen income. You can call it whatever you like. But the idea is you want something working for you where you're putting in very little effort so you can focus in your genius and move forward and make the impact that you're looking to make on the world, right? And if you make additional income from that, great. If you don't, it's up to you. Why wouldn't you, right? So I want to just talk a minute here for about my point of view about money, because I want to hear what your points of view about money are too. So for me, I love money. I love to bathe in it. I love to, I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie with Demi Moore where she bathed in the bathtub with all the dollar bills and she made $1 million or something. That's me. You don't need the visual, but the idea is money actually gives you the opportunity to live a happier life. It doesn't mean you're going to be happier, but you can do the things that you'd like to do or want to or need to. Pay off your house, pay off your debt, help out your parents, whatever it is, go on a trip, whatever it is that you want. It enables you to live the lifestyle you want and be happier and have less stress, because, money is the number one thing that causes stress in relationships. Okay. Disagreements about money, putting pressure on people, right? I've seen it in our family, right? Everybody's seen it to a certain degree. So when you're deciding what you want or where you want your income to be as a leader, you need to put a number out there. And if it's your dream big number, that's fine. If it's something more reasonable or, make it achievable. So it's not like $20 gazillion, right? Like that's just not making sense. And what I recommend is that you put it over a 1 or 2 year period. Some people do a 5-year period, but I find like so much can change over 5 years. So usually I tell people to do it 1 year period. So basically, let's say you want to make $100,000 in a year. You're going to take that number and you're going to divide it by 12. So now you know what you're going to make per month. Okay. And then in the other column, what do you offer? What do you charge for your services? What are your projections of what kind of income you're going to bring in every single month? Okay. And the other thing you want to be adding here is what kind of expenses do you have? Right. So make sure you're putting all of your pluses and minuses together so that you're getting a net income number. And if your net income number isn't matching what your monthly income number was from that 100,000, then you got to figure out where the difference is that you're going to make it, or take that big 100,000 and bring it down to where it's manageable. Because the fact of the matter is we can set goals all day long, but if they're not achievable for you, you're wasting your time. It's not going to work. Okay. So be smart about it. Dream big, but make it achievable. That's the key. Okay. So a couple things, when I do my talks, I always do a little bit of research. I think it's important. And I was looking up different things that, that you can make a side income off of. And I thought some of them were pretty cool. So I'm going to go over a few of those. So as we're going to come back to where do you want your income to be? And we've talked a little bit about money mindset. And the next thing I want to talk about on that after I go over this is fear, right? Fear of making money, fear of not being good enough, fear of not of reaching out to go for it, and having that fear of failure crush you, right? So that you don't move forward. So we're going to talk about that next. But some cool ideas so I've got here some ideas you can start to create extra income from home. Okay. So the first one is an Amazon niche site. This has become the new norm. It wasn't around a few years ago. Amazon was just a company and it was growing. So this can become your full-time income if you have a niche site, right? If you're interested in learning about being an Amazon affiliate, you can just, go on their Amazon site. Okay. The second is bookkeeping. If you're not big on numbers, I'm not. Even though I took it in high school, you could do that. Basically, programs like QuickBooks and FreshBooks run you through it. Literally, they teach you how to do it. So that is something that's doable. Writing a nonfiction book. I should have my book, 31-Day Leadership Challenge, out probably in the next couple of months. So this is definitely doable. And if you find that writing a book is too much for you, write a chapter in a book. Make a contribution. This will get you into it, and you'll start feeling like it's not too much to do and that you have something to say. And you all have something to say, okay? Especially if you're stepping into leadership. So I like the book idea. Be a virtual assistant. This is not hard to do, okay? Online surveys, okay? You can make some cash off of that. Graphic design contests. You don't want me in your graphic design contest because I'm all about the stick people. But if you're gifted in that area, there's a lot of things there. Podcasting, just like we're doing today on Barbara Beckley show. Set up a podcast. People love to talk about the subject of their expertise. So you could start that up easily and charge for it. No problem. Photography, videography. Let me see here. Freelance writing for blogs. That's become a huge one that I've noticed a lot of people. Selling factory seconds or return products. Investing in an index fund. I'm just going to go over a few more of these. So I'm just kind of giving you some ideas here. Babysitting or being a nanny. I couldn't do that because I don't have the patience, but I know a lot of people do, and they make some good cash at it. Okay. Let me see here. Computer or cell phone repair. Of course, you got to know what you're doing. Don't bring your computers near me. That would just be a big mistake. Let me see here. Flipping things on Craigslist or other Kijiji. Here we have Kijiji. I think there's Letgo. There's a bunch of them that you could sell products. Being a handyman. Okay, make sure that you know what you're doing, though. Don't just go out and offer services. Becoming a real estate, sports lessons, personal training. As a martial arts instructor, I make a lot of money teaching classes. I am very high ranked in what I do. I have 3 world championship titles, and I'm one of probably 10 women in the world at my rank, right? So not only do I know how to teach martial arts, I know how to lead people into teaching martial arts and create leaders from that, right? So that brings a whole other level to my business when I'm teaching. And those skills are transferable into my leadership business. Buy a blog. And, the last one here is lawn care or drive for Uber. I can't tell you the number of people that I know that drive Uber to make extra money, right? So, you have to really get creative if you're feeling like you're not making enough money, right? And so when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you know what your bottom line is minus your expenses, and that's called your net income ratio. So you have the money you bring in, the expenses that you had to run your business, and you subtract that, and then that's going to be your net income ratio. What you want to do is you want to bring down the time it takes to make the money. That's where the difference is going to be made, right? So if you could close more sales in less time or get jobs finished sooner, you're going to be able to get in more business, and you're actually going to be able to connect with more people, which means more referrals, right? So as a leader, it's really important for you to be thinking about where you want your income to be. And to finish up here today, let's talk a little bit about fear, because I think that this is a huge subject that isn't always addressed, because when we have fear, it's seen as being weak. And as leaders, showing your weakness is actually a strength, and being vulnerable and being willing to be seen for who you are is probably one of the biggest strengths that you can have. Okay? People want to see that you're human and that you're not a machine. I mean, I drive my business, but 2 weeks ago I had a meltdown, right? Like I just completely lost it. I'm like, I'm done. That's it. And I think that we need to acknowledge that having those moments is okay. It just, it's just, to me, I think of it as a check-in. So I have a meltdown for 2 days. I quit. 2 days later, I'm like, okay, what do I need to get done? Right? So like, I'm not really done. So it's a good check-in to see if you really want to keep going where you're going. So think of it as a road marker, right? So when I'm talking about fear, what you really need to do are two things. First of all, look at and define what that fear looks like. Where does it come from? And on what level? Is it emotional? Is it mental, spiritual, physical? Like, where is it coming from? Okay. Is it from your family or friends? Is it ancestral? Is it because of your circumstances? And then, you get into the point where you've actually got to make a choice if you want to keep that. Okay. Do you want to keep it? Maybe you don't want to give it all away because you've had some comfort and safety in that fear, and you don't have to actually step into your power if you hold on to some of that. That's okay. You should be where you exactly need to be. People talk about getting rid of their fear and they're not weak. And the truth is that you're going to go at your pace and what is good for you. So make sure when the other thing that I want to tell you about this before we kind of close off today is, when you're thinking about your fear and you're thinking about your money situation, I want you to ask yourself this. And then, this whole thing goes into self-judgment. That's another conversation for another day. Is your fear real? Okay. And I don't want you to downplay it like it's not real. But if it's real, is it really freezing you? Or are you just choosing not to step into things fully because it's uncomfortable? Right? So make sure that you look at that with a good perspective and you define it as much as you can, because I can bet you a lot of the time it's more like the fear of the unknown as opposed to the fear of like, oh my God, my whole world will come crashing down and I'm going to lose everything. I'll be a total failure. That's a bit extreme, and you can't live like that every moment. It's just not humanly possible, because I think we tend to put a label on things when it shows up as something, right? So ask yourself if that's really fear, or maybe it's a form of excitement. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but let's see what happens. It's kind of scary though, right? So are you really afraid to look at who you are is what I'm asking you here. Because if you are, then that has so many other issues tied to it. Okay, not just your income and where you want to be in your income. So we'll have deeper thoughts about this at another time. I'm going to talk on that because I think that's a big part of our leadership and some of the things that could be holding us back from stepping into our power and our greatness. Okay, so my question to you as I finish up today is, where do you want your income to be? Get that number, work it back 12 months, make sure that you've got enough in your arsenal to make that money. And if you don't, start getting creative. I gave you some good ideas today. Okay. Next week, we're going to talk about 2 ways that you can communicate better. I love talking about communication. So it's going to be really exciting. Guys, step into your leadership. I want to see you live the best life you have. Leadership is a huge subject, and every week I talk on a different aspect of it. I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I will see you all soon. Have a great week, and bye for now.
you so much, Queen Laura. Boy, she was naming off those different type of income that you can make. And I was like, okay, I know somebody that does Uber. I know somebody that does DoorDash. I know somebody that has a podcast. I mean, the list goes on. I have this TV show. This is making, some additional income. So it's really important, especially now. I mean, as we went through the storms and the pandemic and everything that we're still dealing with, you have to keep moving with your income. And sometimes you have to do the extra. Sometimes you have to do extra. And in fact, I was doing extra even before the pandemic happened, to be honest, because I'm always wanting to make and grow so I can not just do things for myself and my family, but to help others. It takes money. I mean, it takes your time, leadership, all that. But when it boils down to it, if you want to make, do things, it's going to take that money. So, Lord, thank you for sharing that with us. That was cool. I like that. And I got to get used to you coming on in the I'm so used to grooving with you, and then after that ending. But this is awesome. I'm just glad that I'm glad that she brings these tips every Thursday so we can learn and grow from her in her expertise. And again, reach out. What do I always say? I ask. I used to tell people, but then people are like, you can't just tell people what to do. I'm like, okay, I'll be nice. I'm asking. Reach out to Laura. She's a coach. You see everything she does. She's a coach. I mean, she's a consultant. She's a motivator. She's a speaker. She's an author. I mean, the list goes on. And people come to this particular platform because they want to give you information to help you out. But then also you can reach out to them and get even more. And then if that can uplift you, and you can learn more, and you can work with these wonderful experts. So thank you, Laura, for coming on. We will see you next Thursday. And now we're going to get right into our next guest here, our special guest. It's funny. We've been rocking and rolling for a while. I met Mr. Kelvin Gibbs in another organization that we're both a part of called Toastmasters International. And I'll never forget the day when I first met Kelvin, and I was like, okay, I better get my stuff together. He looks like he's going to be yelling at me or something. He has that stern look, like, hey, don't mess with stuff and get it right and be on top of things. And, don't look, see, this is why I always tell people, don't look at first impressions so hard like that. You never know that those particular individuals will become people that are just a jewel in your life. And I have to consider him and his lovely wife a jewel in my life. I have learned, he has inspired me. He has told me, I love how he's straightforward. He tells you basically to help you. And that's what it's all about. I don't want nobody, beating around the bush talking about, well, Barbara, you were da-da-da-da. I need somebody to tell me because we're all trying to, level up. He's that type of person. I mean, and the list goes on for him too. He's a professional, international speaker. He's a diversity and inclusion consultant, which we need now very much so. And it's going to be like, this is a need. And he's a leadership trainer. He's also a leadership trainer. And he has his own podcast and produces podcast hosts. And the list goes on. So we are going to get to know Cal a little bit more, just like I love and adore him. But I got to bring him on right? He's on the Diamond Factor Experience Show. So let's do this. Mr. Kelvin Gibbs, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. Oh, you're on mute?
You would think after a year of being in a virtual environment, we would know to unmute ourselves. But good morning, Barbara. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh, so much. I know I've been trying to get this going and we've been talking and, with your, busy schedule, which you are doing all these things that you do. I was like, oh, I finally got him on the schedule. So this is, like I said, this is a treat and this is a gift. I want to say this. I'm gonna be a little selfish here, and it's okay to be selfish sometimes. This is a gift from you to me that you're on the show. So thank you for being my gift today and for coming on and just letting people know who you are and get to know you. Now, I always tell people I like to bring people on, not just to ask those, like, because sometimes you get on shows and they have certain questions and everything. And I like it to flow. I like it to flow because I really want people to get to know your personality. So eventually, like I said earlier, they can get to work with you, maybe build a relationship, maybe business partner. You never know. Never know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay, I want to start because we always talk about our stories and our backstories in our lives. So how did Mr. King Calvin Gibbs Jr. get to be who he is now? Where did it start from? Did you always want to be that speaker?
Well, Barbara, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and came of age during the 1970s. And it was a rough place to grow up. I lived between 3 project complexes. So anytime you wanted to leave the neighborhood, you had to navigate through neighborhoods with gangs, different things going on. And it was a rough life. Of course, in the 70s, there was a big drug problem going on in New York, heroin in particular. And it also affected my immediate family. So, as you said, sometimes I seem very stern and straight to the point. Yeah, that's the way I grew up. I think I have a heart of gold. I'm really a nice guy,
Yeah.
but I do like to keep it 100 because I don't have time to play around.
No.
And I went to a lot of theater on and off Broadway in New York. When I got to the teenage and was able to travel by myself comfortably, and I never understood the attraction to me and theater.
Mm.
And then in 1996, I decided to pack up everything I owned and move to Chicago. I didn't have any family here. I did come out and got a job and an apartment, but I didn't know really what that draw was pulling me to Chicago. And my family definitely didn't understand it. Some of them are still upset about things. But I made the move, and just to speed the story up, I joined the church. They had a drama ministry. They were doing a Christmas play, Brother Scrooge. And to meet some people, I volunteered to work the curtains. The guy that played Scrooge didn't show up for rehearsal one day. They said, "Hey, guy on the curtains, read this part." I read the part. Next rehearsal, the guy didn't show up again. I read the part again, put a little bit more into it, and ended up getting the part and getting bit by the acting bug at the same time. Then to Columbia College, taking some classes, learning about theater, learning how to work the stage. This is all pre-Toastmaster stuff that
Yeah.
teaches the same thing. And I have been in over 100 theater productions in Chicagoland as an actor, writer, director, and producer. I met my wife, who had a background in singing. And after we got married, we started a theater company, and we did shows all around Chicago for like 12 years. And I started to understand the importance, the power of words. So that natural transition to Toastmasters just enforced that I was on the right track, because Toastmasters is all about communication and how words can move, words can cure, words can heal, words can tear down. And I have been blessed to have gone through that educational system twice. I am a distinguished Toastmaster twice over. And now I have, I should say this, last year, at the day after Father's Day, I was let go from my corporate America job because of the pandemic. Work was slow. What a blessing that was. Because then I was able to incorporate my business, Born to Speak to You. See the little play on words there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had already started doing trainings in the beginning of 2020, and I was able to switch that from in person to virtual. Once I learned the virtual platform,
Mhm.
I was able to transfer to that. I auditioned for one of the Toastmasters districts to be a preferred trainer, got accepted as a preferred trainer, and did a lot of training in this last Toastmasters year. So that's me in a nutshell, and what I have focused on as far as, I guess, expertise
Mhm.
is in the area of diversity,
Yeah.
DEI, equity, inclusion, personal growth, productivity, and goal setting. Those are my hot
Mm.
topics.
Awesome. Well, first of all, we got to unpack a little bit here. There was a lot of good information and some information I was surprised about because, see, this is where I'm thinking I'm knowing this king, and then he gives me some other stuff to really unpack and be like, what? What? Being in the, I didn't even know, Kelvin, that you was in the theater that heavy.
Oh,
Wow.
oh yes, oh yes. I love to feel the heat on my bald head when I'm on in center stage. Um, it is something that frees me when
Wow.
I get into character. I can do and say anything. I don't have to worry about Calvin anymore.
Mm,
I'm now that character, and I can say or do whatever that character needs to do and have fun with it
mm.
for that period of time. And I've also taught classes on um, character character development, stage management, because even as a speaker, we
Yeah.
know there's certain spots on the stage where we are more powerful
Mm-hmm.
than others. How to use lighting to my advantage. I'm a dark skinned person, so the lighting has to be right for me.
Yes.
Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and to have met my wife, who has a background in
And
singing.
singing.
Yeah, she traveled with recording choirs, uh, ECC and the I'm sorry, James Chambers and the Ecclesiastes Community Choir. They traveled around Chicago, around the country actually, um, singing and recording. That's before I met her.
Mm-hmm.
So after I met her, and we fell in love and got married, it was a natural thing for us to start up a theater company. I worked with the actors and some of the set design. She worked with set design and singers and music and things like that,
Wow.
and it just came together.
Mm.
Now she has only been in front of in front of the audience one time.
Really? This one? Yes,
Yeah,
sir. I can't
and
believe that.
Sonia, believe it or not, she feels that her strength is behind the stage, and that's where she likes to stay. Whereas me, I like to kind of
To
be
be.
in front of things. Yeah.
But you know what? I know with her, she has been doing a lot of presentations and leadership and really getting more into the training. So I'm glad that it took that next level because she's so good at it. And I would hate to see that particular gift of hers just be behind the scenes. So I'm glad that she has moved in front like you have.
Mhm.
And you two gel so well. So you help each other out in certain situations. So I love that. I love that mixture that you two have together. So now you went from the whole theater stuff, and then you said, okay, well, you know what, this communication, speaking is really important, and then you decided to say, okay, let's just go to we did. I kind of did in the same way, in a different way, but same thing, and went to the Toastmasters organization, and that was another stepping stone and tool that I believe that we both and Ansonia really hopped up on. And I always had to give credit where credit's due. We got to, Toastmaster has been, I know for myself, and I know probably for you too, has been a big influence to get you to the next level where now you're doing things outside. And that's what I love about, I tell people with the tool, Toastmaster is a tool, and you take that and you go beyond that. So, I mean, you have your own podcast, you're a producer of that. Now, like you're saying, you're teaching about goal setting, you're training, you're doing leadership. So all that just came out of everything that you've done even with the theater, being in theater and everything. So I want to ask you, when Born to Speak, what was your prime objective mission that you want to push through with that?
The primary reason for starting Born to Speak to You is to have my own company, whereas I can get out there and give my message to the masses. And I thought long and hard about a company name. You probably know how that is when you're trying to get it just right.
Yes.
And I had some ideas, but it wasn't really clicking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I was sitting there. I was probably just finished praying. I was sitting there just being quiet. And it came to me, Born to Speak to You. Now, this is back, man, 12 years ago.
Wow.
12 years ago was when it was planted in my mind, Born to Speak to You. And then I started playing with the two twos in there and decided to put the number two in it to make it unique.
Yes.
And that was the beginning of Born to Speak to You. Even when, just before I joined Toastmasters, I was speaking at small groups. I would get the community room at a library and teach the elder um, people about selling and buying on eBay, things like that. I got invited to someone's home. I did a training session at a friend's home, training people on selling and buying on eBay.
Wow.
And yeah, so before I even got into Toastmasters, you may say that the seed had been planted.
I love the name of your company, Calvin. I love how creative that is, Born to Speak. And you were, I mean, that's really a story behind that, is you were truly born to speak to the mass and talk to people of what you do. So it like I said, that's why I like to ask the questions about, where that arrived from, what was your thinking process and the mission and goal of it. And it fits. It really fits. And
Yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
like how you said, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, I like how you said you took time and you kind of, got quiet. And that's so important. I'm glad that you mentioned that.
yes, it's very important. A lot of good ideas come to you when you're quiet and you can listen. And I don't know what people's religious belief is, but I pray to God, and then I sit back and I wait for the response. And it's not always something I can hear. It may manifest itself to me through somebody I meet. It may manifest itself through something I see or something I read. So you have to learn to be quiet and expect the answer.
And I'm glad you said that too, looking at the different signs. It might not always just be that small, still voice saying it, but it's something that's shown to you, something that you
Right.
might read in an article or in a book or see on TV, or somebody might say something. You'd be like, oh my God, there's just confirmation. I was just kind of thinking about this. So
Hmm.
yeah, you get your signs around. That's why listening, I keep telling people, listening is very important. Very
That's right.
important.
In fact, the diversity part of my program in early 2020, that did not exist in my program. I wasn't thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I wasn't thinking about that. But the events of 2020,
Yes.
the sitting, I mean, we all had to take time and sit down and think about things that were going on.
Oh, yes.
And that's during the time when diversity got planted in my mind. I
Mm,
was like, yeah, we have, gotten fed up with things the way they were. We've seen a murder on videotape all around the world. We have protested and rioted.
mhm,
Now it's time for corporate America, especially organizations, to start thinking about how they have been doing business
mhm.
and start to make changes.
Yeah.
And when I started investigating diversity, equity, and inclusion more, I was like, yeah, that's where I'm supposed to be at this time right now.
Yes.
So I took out leadership. So I took out leadership and put in DEI.
And you know what, Kelvin? You are, okay, I'm just going to say this. You are the main person. I'm glad that you took that on, because you have a heart in that area. And I love what you do is it's all about communicating. Some people, I know that I'm thinking, I don't know what enemy necessary popped in my head with Malcolm X, but some people go to a different route and then you don't get the results that we're trying to get. With you bring on people on your podcast, you have those talks, and you bring not just blacks, but you bring whites and different other nationalities. Say, okay, let's bring to the table and let's talk about this, because people need to understand, first of all, how other races are feeling and why it is the way it is, and then let's see what we can do to make it happen, where we can move forward in this. And I know it's been so long that we all been through this, but when, like you said, when you see a murder on TV, as we seen last year, and the riot and the picking, all that kind of stuff, but the thing that I love through when people are walking to say, what, we need rights, Black Lives Matter, is you seen other races walking with them. And I told myself, there's hope. So that gave me hope. I was like, hope, yes. So you taking this stand, this is monumental for you. And I'm glad that you're doing, because it's a need. It's a need.
Yeah, and even though there were other races that marched in the civil rights marches of the 60s, we never saw it in such great numbers as last year. Young people, older people, all races out there. And not only that, not only in America, but across the world.
Yes.
And I said, yes, this could start moving things along. And then we started seeing corporate America making announcements about changes that they were going to make. And that's all well and good. I don't really have a beef with corporate America, but I want them to be held responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And not only when the cameras are going, when the topic is hot, but after it cools off,
Thank you.
Still be responsible, and still join us in this struggle to move things forward when nobody's paying attention. And that's what I want to promote during my training, especially in-person trainings, is that yes, you have a responsibility as well,
mm-hmm.
to change the culture of your business,
yes.
to make it more diverse, to give people. To me, diversity means who's on the outside trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Equity is those that's already in. Are they getting an equal voice?
Mm-hmm.
And inclusion is the environment that of your corporation. Is it a place where people can thrive in? Do they feel comfortable? Because once your employees feel comfortable,
mm-hmm.
you're going to see your profits go up as well.
That's how it works.
Once your employees have a voice in what's going on, and they feel that they're valued or valuable, you're going to see your profits going to go up. You're going to see people wanting to work with you. You're going to see innovations and new ideas coming from those employees.
Yes.
So that's the message.
So yes. Oh, I commend you for that. You are so right. Everything is like a little snowball effect, but in the right direction, not in the wrong direction. Where you see what's the word where they say happy wife, happy life. Well,
Yeah.
happy employees, happy profits.
Yeah. Going to use that one. Thank you.
Thank you. See, that's why I like the collaboration. We get to help each other out. But you have, I'm telling you, and I meant what I said earlier. You and your wife has really motivated me. We've been through leadership together within Toastmasters, and we had a show a little while ago where we were talking about more of the diversity, and you always come back giving me good feedback that I use. I'm telling you, I take it, I keep it. And I always remind myself when I'm doing things like this and everything moving forward. So I want to thank you for doing that for me, because you didn't have to do it. You had to take the time to do that. I mean, you're a busy man. You're a celebrity. But no, you took the time to say, you know what, I want to help. I want to help with what they call a sister here. I want to help Barbara. and I'm loving it. So I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. It's always my pleasure, and I don't think of myself as a celebrity. I got invited last night to a virtual screening of a friend's trailer. Well, it was actually his short movie, short film, and he invited me by the words, "Dear uh, dear media personnel or personality," and I was
Okay.
like, "You could just say Dear Calvin. Come on, man," because because throughout it all, I from my background where I came from, I feel humbled about everything.
Yeah.
I feel humbled when I have a chance to speak in front of people, whether it's 10 people or, several hundred people. I feel humbled and blessed to have gone from that to this.
Yes.
And I have a message that I feel that I'm supposed to give. So if it's helping someone, Barbara, if it's training someone so that they can take that knowledge and move on to better themselves, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I try to be very humble about it.
Well, you're always humble, but don't. But we give you titles because we look at you, we honor you. So take that out. Take it.
Hey, hey, hey! I got a funny story for you. We recently went on vacation, and after a year of being in the house for most of the time, it
Yeah.
was much needed. I wanted to just go somewhere where nobody knew my name, where nobody could call me, ask me for anything. That was my objective. Okay, so we get into this hotel in Nashville. I'll say now where we went. We went to Nashville, and I'm talking to some of the young black guys working the desk. The valet parking was all young black men. And whenever I would come downstairs for whatever, stop and talk to them for a minute. Saturday night, we come down to get the car or whatever. All of a sudden, hey, Mr. Calvin. Hey, Mr. Calvin. Hey, Mr. Calvin. How you doing? You need anything, Mr. Calvin? Can I get you anything? And I'm like, oh my God. So now we got people in the lobby. Everybody's looking at me like, who is that guy that everybody's clamoring over? And I'm like, oh my God. And Sonia, my wife, was just crying. She was cracking up. She said, you are not going to be invisible.
See, but that's what happens when you motivate and you're listening and you're talking and you're helping the young people out. So they all see automatically you got their attention and they got the respect. They're giving you the respect. So
Yeah.
that's why I know you said, "Dang, I was trying to get away. Now still."
Yeah.
That is so. I love that though. That is so awesome how they automatically knew how to do that respect that quick. Sometimes you don't have the young doing it that quick now, Kelvin. You know that.
I,
Sometimes it takes a
I
little
know.
bit of
I know.
time.
I know.
But
So I take that with a grain of salt as well. I'm
yeah.
humble about that. Just keep it quiet. I'm on vacation. That's all. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, Mr. Calvin, I know you have I think you have a giveaway here or something. So I'm going to put it out here. Online training module.
Yes. Yes. I have an online training module. It's at borntospeaktoyou.com. And this training system consists of 8 modules, everything from administrative skills, sales and marketing, supervising management, personal growth, um, Microsoft Office techniques. And within each of those modules are different courses.
Okay.
And each course within itself has like 12 modules. It has a quiz after each module that you finish. And at the end, when you pass the course, um, you can print out a certificate of completion. And what I'd like to do for your listeners of this show, starting at 12 noon today, because I told you I just came back from vacation. I got to do some programming. I would like to offer them 30% off any course except for the monthly course. They'll see those on the first page, the July discounts, not counting those, but any other course in that system, 30% off if they use the code DIAMOND at checkout. And this offer is good until July 15th.
Okay, now people, you heard that. I have it on the screen. There's no excuses that you didn't hear that this wonderful, wonderful king is offering a good price and discount for what he does. He's pouring his expertise out to help you move the needle. So now the offer expires July 15th, and you go to borntospeak.com, right?
Born to speak to you.
Oh, to you. Okay.
Yes. Born to speak to you.com. And it would be effective as of 12 noon Central Time today until July 15th.
Okay.
So for people that are, they're talking about people looking for jobs right now, maybe you need to get some more skills in an area that you're not familiar with for that job interview. This is a great chance to get some training in that at a discount. To give you that leg up when you go sit in front of somebody for that job interview that's coming up. Also, for most of the courses that's there, it can either be a virtual training online, which is available to you 24 hours a day. Each seat, I call it a seat. Each each module that you buy is for 60 days. So 60 days, you have the opportunity to go on 24 hours a day and do your training. And if you don't finish a module, when you come out, when you go back in, it'll start you right from where you left off.
Ooh, yeah. So please take advantage of this. Like I say, everybody, these are some good things that you can do to, like you said, move. You get your skills going,
Barbara,
and that's awesome.
the website is born to speak to the number two you.com.
Oh, the number two.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure you get there, Born. I always forget it's the two and not the two, not the word two.
Yeah, the word two is kind of long. that's why that's why I took them out.
Let's see. So yeah, so Born to Speak, your online training module, 30% off. Use the code DIAMOND at the checkout, and you'll
Right.
get that off. And then it's until July 15th, born to speak to you.com.
That's right.
Make sure everybody has that correctly. Well,
And
Kel, oh, go ahead.
And the cool thing about our training is you can either do it virtually from the system, or if you have a business and want us to come out to do the training at your site, we can do that as well. Those classes usually run like 6 hours, and 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, and it's interactive. Your employees can ask questions of us. Your personnel in the organization can ask questions. We have different games and interactive exercises to make sure that you get the best from the experience.
Ooh, that is wonderful, Kevin. I am so happy. See, this is what happens throughout, moving, pushing, and just believing in who you are, and people believing in you, supporting you. You come and you have your own business, and now you're helping people get to that point. So, Kelvin, I really appreciate you coming on the show again. It's been an honor. Now, just any last words that you want to leave for to our listeners?
I will say this. We always talk about, I'm going to do this one day, or one day I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Instead of saying one day, how about have this be day one? It doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long as you are moving towards your goal. Set your goal. If you need to learn how to set a goal, you can contact me through borntospeaktoyou.com. I will help you. We have resources to help you learn how to set a goal. And the main thing about goal setting, keep moving. We all work at our own pace. I learned that through Toastmasters. Some will work faster, some will work slower. Work at your own pace, but instead of keep saying, one day I'm going to do this, one day, let this be day one.
Yes. Ooh, that's a golden nugget. That's a diamond nugget. I'm gonna put it out there. Love it. Yes, Kelvin. It's so true. Just do it. I always tell people, hey, I always say somebody can only just say no, or, you don't, maybe you fail at it, but you tried. You took a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump. Like, well, Steve Harvey says that jump thing, but by moving forward. But if you just stand back and be like, oh, well, maybe I should, or nah. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, there is no such thing as a true failure. If you try something that doesn't work, you have learned something.
Yes.
You have learned something. You take that knowledge and use it to try again.
Yeah.
No fail.
Just like I know another business partner of mine always say, fail forward.
That's right.
Fail forward. Because like you said, Kelvin, you just said you always are learning, even when you fail forward. And believe me, I have learned a lot about failing forward. I have. But it's been good because now I know, and I know how to improve. I know how to do things, differently. And I learned myself. I learned about me more. So yeah, definitely. Like right now, this show, I just can't. Still, sometimes, Kelvin, I can't comprehend it. I do have a TV streaming show. I was like, I did it. But like I said, it takes, people like you and others that inspires and motivates and puts on these courses like that you have to get people to that next level. So thank you for doing that and helping out. And we're going to have you back. We really have to have you back. Like maybe do a course online or, certain things. We have to talk.
Well, thank you. I would definitely love to show some of the modules in the training system. And coming up, I'm trying to put this conference together for people that are, let's say, middle age and up, that maybe are looking for a job or want to change careers, that may be feeling down and out right about now, that they're not useful. The conference will be called "It's Not Over."
Ooh.
It's not over.
Yes, okay. I'm just letting you know. Soon as you get everything together, I want to help promote that. I mean, I'll put it on the show. What we have to do, you got to come back. Whatever. I want to help you get that promoted.
Well, I am still looking for speakers, so yeah, I'll be in touch.
Everybody heard that? Uh-oh.
Yep. Barbara, thank you so much.
Thank you to Kelvin for coming on the Diamond Factor Experience Show. And like I said, please, again, we put down there, Born to Speak to You online training module, 30% off. He's being very generous now. Use code DIAMOND at the checkout. And also this lasts until July 15th, borntospeak2you.com. Thank you, Kelvin, and we will stay in touch, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See, I told you we were going to have an awesome show today. Thank you, Laura, for bringing in your expertise for the leadership and giving those tips about, trying to find other ways to get income because it's much needed, as we all know, and it does help when you get those resources. And then we have Mr. King. Mr. King Darn Calvin Gibbs Jr. Thank you, Calvin. Like I said, I know we was back and forth, getting you on the show. And, as a busy person, a celebrity, I know he's probably going to be like, stop calling me celebrity. But he is. He is. Take the title. Take the title. That's an honor because we respect you, Calvin. And for coming on the show, you know what? That's not the last. See, I don't look at these interviews or, building a relationship through you, to the people I bring to you, so you build that relationship so you get to know them. It's a one and done. I don't like one and dones. I don't like that at all because they have that expertise, that special sauce, as I call it, in them. And I want them to come back so you get to even know more and more what they do, because you never know that either yourself or somebody that you know. So don't just say, well, maybe I don't need that type of training, but you might know somebody that does need that type of training. He's giving a special offer here. So I left it on the screen so you could take it down and remember, because I had to change that was my fault, the website a few times. Born to the number 2 speak2you.com. And just look at the modules, look at what he's offering. And there's more to it than just his modules now, the training modules. You could get him to come maybe to your location to train. I mean, he does on-site training too, him and his team. So let's work with each other, let's collaborate with each other, and make sure that we're getting what we need for us to level up. Okay, that's what it's all about, is helping each other, leveling up. And with that, can you believe it's going to be Friday tomorrow? Oh my God. So this weekend, maybe because of the holiday, I don't know. But I'm missing days now. For some reason, I thought today was Wednesday. I don't know why. But today's Thursday. Yes, Barbara, today's Thursday. And we will see you tomorrow. We have some special guests from the Power Up Summit, speakers coming on. I think I have like 5 ladies coming on tomorrow, fabulous queens, that's going to talk about their stories and why they became speakers within this Power Up Summit that starts next week. From Kern Sherry herself. She organizes like 4 summits a year. And she always has all the speakers come, and it's like a whole summit. And you're going to learn so much different things from these different speakers. So they're going to be on tomorrow. So same time, same station. Tune in at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and all the other time zones. Please figure that one out. I try to do 2 main ones. So with that, come tomorrow. We will be on. Come on 5 days out the week now, Monday through Friday, and we're here for you. And always remember that your PPD, as I call it, your purpose, your passion, and your drive, I say that's the foundation for you, because when everything else is going around, like the earthquakes and the floods and pandemic and everything else, you have to be centered in you. And what I do is I wrap up a little package, a little gift, put a little bow on it, and call it your Diamond Factor. So remember not to only just share for yourself, where you can grow and be that shining gem that you are, but also to help others grow, because we're here for each other. Let's share that little of that expertise in us, that little gifts that we have in us, to help others so they can rise up. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.